Jamaica has always been an influence. It still is an influence because I still live there. I have a home in Jamaica. I have also a home in New York and in Florida. And to me, all these different places that I go, bear some sort of significance to the type of music I make. I don't make reggae music in its traditional form because frankly I think it's been done, and frankly it's been done so well from people before me. No one could do what Bob Marley has done and do it better than him. He's done it so well, you know what I mean? So for Shaggy to make a mark on this music and this culture, I have to do something a little bit more eclectic, a little bit more, something somewhat different, and I'm a person, I get bored very easily. So that's why no two songs will ever sound the same. This all happened to me as an accident. There's no one in my family that's ever done music, and as a kid I liked music. I liked to play the radio, and I was big on records. My grandmother had all these 7-inch 45s that I used to play over and over again, and so I was big on music in that way, and I just loved music, but I wasn't influenced by anyone in my family playing music or being that interested in music. To me it was just something that was a hobby, and it kind of turned out to be bigger than I ever thought. The initial drift was just an interest for it. I'm in Flatbush and I'm with guys who had sound systems, and my thing, I used to use my lunch money to buy records, and I was a selector, so to speak, which they call a DJ over here, and I played at clubs and parties and whatnot, and then I started just rhyming because I couldn't afford people rhyming special records for me, so that's where it just kind of developed from. I was just on the streets in New York and wanted to get off, I was going down the wrong path. I was hanging with some of my friends who were probably, to this day, they're either dead or locked up, but it was just a path that I felt like I've had enough of and just wanted to be out of Brooklyn, and I just left. I went straight into the recruiting center and just did it. I didn't even know what I was getting into, to be honest. I'm just figuring what my luck. People do 20 years and never see a war. I do 4 and I'm in the middle of one. Makes me realize never say never, But it made you realize how much life is worth and how much you should try to accomplish and try to live it. And it made me realize that I was taking a lot of things for granted. My parents, my friends, my family. There was no bad experience as far as combat was concerned. I met good people in the military and bad people, and for the most part, to me, there's never a bad experience if you learn from it, as long as there's a lesson. There's no losers in life as long as you learn from whatever mistakes you make. So I've learned a lot. The voice thing really came to play when I was in the military. I was in the military for about 4 years. And while I was there, they used to ask me to sing cadres, and you used to run and sing these cadres and be like, I don't know, but I've been told my CEO wears pantyhose, and we just make up. And the thing why they used to call me to sing all the cadres is because I make dirty jokes out of them. And it's motivating when you're running 7, 8, 9 miles and you're singing, reciting these dirty jokes that I've been, these dirty cadence. So it was popular for me to go out there and sing these dirty cadence that they were motivated to sing these things. And I would just use that voice, and because it projects. And the minute I did Old Carolina and used that tone of voice, it kind of blew up, and everyone expected me to do that, and I did Bombastic after that and whatever record else I had. Brooklyn is very significant for the fact that that's where I met Sting, and Sting being a local DJ and and had this Jamaican or West Indian background, and big on records. He's been a record collector since he was 10 years old, and takes it very serious. Sting actually takes collecting record more serious than even producing, and even though producing makes more money. When I got out of the military, I got out with a discharge with something written at the bottom that I could never re-up. I could never go back in the military. So I had to do something, and I just went with what I love to do. I had no kids, I had no responsibility, so it was pretty easy for me to support myself, and I just did local reggae tunes and put them out on 7 inches, and they, you didn't make any money off them as far as royalties are concerned, but you sure got a lot of shows, you know, and you might go to a club and they'll pay you $2,000 to do a gig, you know. I mean, I'm figuring my rent is about $300 a month. I mean, if I do one gig for $2,000, my rent is met. My ends are meeting, you know what I mean? Sometimes you do like probably 3 shows for the whole month and you'll be all right. So my expenses were so low that, it was easy for me to pursue music. Those little 7 inches that we were making, we kept doing. I did Big Up, and I think I was doing a couple before, like Old Foot and a couple of these hardcore reggae tunes. And the next song I did was Mampi, and that kind of blew up locally. Had those local reggae clubs and everything. It was like really popular. And then the next one I did was Big Up, which is bigger, and that kind of crossed over to England and was big in the local reggae scenes. All the raga clubs and the raga radio stations were hitting it. And then I did Old Carolina, and that kind of blew up even bigger into reggae and raga. And then somehow my manager licensed it to Greensleeve because he had those connections. He just came in. He actually came in right as Old Carolina was voiced, released locally, and he heard where it could have gone. And all he said, I'm going to take it to England. I'm going to chart it. And I'm like, chart? I don't even know what chart is. I'm just doing little reggae clubs. And he took it and licensed it to Greensleeve Records, and they had major distribution through BMG, and the rest was history. It just took off like a lightning. It just went. I remember I was on tour at Maxi Priest at that time. I was doing background vocals for Maxi, and I was being paid $500 a week, and I thought that was heaven, period. I had baddest chick every night, a room, and I'm going all over the world with Maxi Priest, And I remember them asking me to leave the tour to come do promotion on Carolina, and I was pissed off about leaving. I was like, you crazy? I just started this job. I'm getting $500 a week, all expense paid, and hottest chicks every night. I don't want to leave. And little did I know what was in store for me, because then I was headlining my own little gigs and being the head of everything, and it was a pretty quick transition. Bombastic was just one of them things that after I did Old Carolina came up, and it was such a big record that everyone was labeling me a one-hit wonder. And the press was just so horrible. I remember even the Sun was just giving it to me almost every week. And then the reggae revolution, the raga revolution started. It kicked it off. Old Carolina, then Apache Indian went and did a record like that, which was Boom Shakalaka, which I thought was a pretty good record too. That went to #1. And then it was, there was another record, Tease Me, which was the same Old Carolina foot drum and bass, which that went to like top 5, and Chakademus and Michi Me and Luchiwan, and then Shaba jumped in the charts with Mr. Lover Man. And all these reggae artists, Snow came up again. He went to #1 in his record. So all these reggae guys were just having all this success right on the back of Old Carolina, and then I couldn't get my second record play. I was labeled a one-hit wonder, and that was that. So I just left the scene, went back to Jamaica. But I was so pissed off. I knew what I wanted to do. I went to the studios and I started writing right away. And the task, I set a goal for myself. The goal was, their argument was, I was a one-hit wonder, so I could never do a hit that big again. 2, it was a cover track because it was originally done by the Folk Brothers, but I changed every lyric in that song anyway. I only used the hook of it. But they said I covered it, so I said, okay, I have to do an original song, no covers, and it has to be bigger than Old Carolina. And this is exactly what Bombastic was. When we dropped it, it came out, it was much bigger, and it was different. And Greensleeve Records they wanted me, because of all the success that was happening with Old Carolina, and everyone was copying that sound, they wanted me to repeat it, and I refused to. So they weren't happy with me either, but I wanted to do something different. I listen to the album right now, and I've come to the realization that I'm not doing anything different than I did then. The music is still fresh. I still do some of it on stage. It was a great album. They just put one single out. It's the same. It's a classic example of you selling 2 million records worldwide or something like that, and all of a sudden the brass comes in and say, hey, okay, we're going to give you this amount of money for this next album, and we need it to sound like this. And it's kind of hard when you're doing that, and you know, you're somewhat. They put a single out that you may or may not feel as you know, could do the job fully, but you're going with it because everyone else around you is going in, and it's a team effort, and you know. But within your gut, you're like, oh no, I'm just not, you know. And it came out, and it just didn't work. All of a sudden, you're told that you're not good enough. And then all the reggae artists around you started having success, and they started, because they dropped me, Virgin dropped me and didn't sign Beanie Man, which is also a rock artist. So that was a blow to my ego totally. I mean, no disrespect to Beanie, I think he's an excellent artist. But it was just a very bad blow. This is all I know how to do anyway, you know? I'm not good at anything else. I'm terrible at soccer, and cricket sucks where I'm concerned, and you know, but to write a song, I knew that what I was writing was dope. And for a while, I questioned myself if I was good because of the fact that Virgin, you know, didn't acknowledge my talent. So I basically moved off and decided that, you know, I was going to seek help from a couple other friends. And then that's when my whole confidence came back. I was dealing with fresh people like Rick Rock and these guys who thought the world of what I was doing, and, you know, wanted to contribute vibes and styles. And then I just had, some sort of a vision of where I wanted to go. I did Love Me with Janet Jackson in America. That debuted, that went all the way to number 3 on the British chart, and that's when MCA realized that, okay, I still had some selling power. And they asked me to do an album, but they wanted a single to be produced by Jama Lewis, who did Love Me, because that was hit. So we did Dance and Shout, put it out first, and it failed. But I remember it not doing well, and I called Jay Boulberg, which is the president of MCA Record, and I said, listen, don't bail out on me. Do not bail out on me. That's what Virgin did to me, and I would really, really hate to see that. And he says, yeah, I'm here for the long haul, and I think that's the best decision he ever made. The very next single after that was Out of Nowhere came. It wasn't me. A DJ just started playing it, and, you know, and that's all I asked him. I said, just don't bail. It was heaven sent. I guarantee if it didn't work, I'd probably be finished. It was do or die, man. It was do or die. If you ask any member of my band, they all had the same attitude. We went out there, we played gigs for absolutely nothing. We went on all these radio shows, radio summer jams, and bust ass and kicked ass, sometimes for free, because we just wanted, it was do or die. This was the last draw. And, you know, it wasn't me really pull it out of the hat. And, you know, it was when, I don't know, that day I was probably just having a real good coffee. I'm contented with it. Yeah, I've achieved what I want. I'm still not happy with certain aspects of it. My main thing, I'm going back into studios now and doing it all again, and most people would have probably taken a rest after all of this promotion and constant traveling. But my main thing is, despite that we've done so much, we're still being held down. You know, majority of the award shows, even especially in America, we only got nominated for 1 Grammy, and no one sold more records than us in America. We weren't even invited to the MTV Awards. I mean, so certainly the things are there that it's eating at me. You know, I'm sure I'm the politically correct thing to say. Oh, I work for the rewards, not the awards. But at the end of the day, I mean, you do want full acceptance, because I work hard at what I do, and I know what I do is credible. And so I just go back to the drawing board and do it again. If you weren't convinced the first time, well, I'll convince you the second time. My argument is not whether or not you used to be a fan, or you think I was good or you think I was bad. My argument is that you're welcome aboard. You know, you might be a little late, but welcome aboard. You know what I mean? So that's my argument, and eventually I'll do that. So that keeps me going. I'm just gonna do another album again and bust them in the head again. Because I don't find happiness just in music. You know, happiness is a all-around thing. I'm just so busy these days that I can't smell the roses, you know? You know how it goes. Money you'll never spend, cars you'll never drive, home you'll never live in. My world stops here, you know? Do a gig, do promotion, do some press, back to the hotel, jump on a plane, go to the next place and repeat it all over again.